What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Seville Sports Mentality Show with Sports Rev and Coachville's own Mr. Grubb. How you doing, Mr. Grubb?
I'm good, Rev. Yeah, that's not like you had your tongue tied there a little bit. I know you're tired, man. You just was on a flight. So
Yeah.
I'm glad you made it back safely, buddy.
I was about to say, welcome to another episode of the Red and Red Sports Show.
Yeah, man.
That's the show I do on Saturday. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't get it all the way up, but then I was like, dang, this is the wrong show. But this is
I would have started stuttering like
This is indeed show number 10 of the Seville Sports Mentality Show. We're so glad to have you, and we're glad to be able to share this on 610, the Seville Sports Network, the sports pride of Coachville. Besides my blunder, how you doing, sir?
I'm great, man. I can't complain. It was nice and sunny outside. It was trying to hit 70 degrees. I got the burger in the back. I'm just, this is just like inspiration. If I keep looking at it, I'm going to get that grill started and start burning some burgers because I'm hungry right now, man.
Oh, man, you're making me hungry looking at that burger. Now, is that one of your burgers?
That is my burger. That is a Mr. Grubb bacon, lettuce, tomatoes, and cheese, and onions, raw onions, smash burger.
All right, so you're giving the folk a preview of what to look forward to as spring and grilling season comes upon us.
Yes, sir, man. And for all my non-pig people, you don't have to get the bacon on the burger.
Now, would you ever put turkey bacon on the burger?
I have, man. I mean,
wow.
I've had requests, and there was, I bought this turkey bacon, man. I'm like, all right, I'm prepared. Next time, nobody asked for it. So I'm like, man, look, I can't do it no more.
I think turkey bacon is a waste of bacon myself, but no shade on anybody who likes turkey bacon. But as for me and my house, we will not eat turkey bacon.
Listen, when bacon was high,
yeah,
I brought turkey bacon, man. Listen, you gotta be on a budget sometimes, man.
I got you. Well, everybody again, welcome to the Seville Sports Mentality Show. We want you to like the Seville Sports Network Facebook page that's been up and running, showing our broadcast live for the past 2 weeks. Also, please go ahead on and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll be grateful and thankful that you did so. So again, please like the Seville Sports Network Facebook page and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you're so inclined to do so, go ahead on and hit that share button. Let somebody know what you're watching on tonight's show number 10 of the Seville Sports Mentality Show. All right. As we do each week, we do our cash check-in, and we start our cash check-in with Mr. Grubb, who is one of Cash's finest. And what year are you representing, Mr. Grubb?
1995. Remove the groove.
1995.
But I forgot.
1995 is officially in the Seville Sports Mentality Show building. Anybody else from Cash, please feel free to chime in and check in and let us know what year you graduated so that we can give you a big shout out. What's going on? Sister Tara, man, who's watching this show, we appreciate your viewing our show. Anybody else watching today, feel free to let us know that you are tuning in. And as Mr. Grubb graduated from 1995, of course, that was a good year for me as I graduated from a school in the ATL, not suburban Atlanta, but in Atlanta proper, in Fulton County. It's Benjamin Elijah Mays High School, named after one of the greatest men in Atlanta history, former superintendent of Atlanta Public Schools, as well as one of the former presidents of one of the best colleges in this universe, more House College that I'm proud to be an alum of. So I had to give that big shout out to Benjamin Elijah Masons. I'm trying to buy some time to see if anybody else is going to check in. Where your people at, Mr. Grubb?
I don't know, man. We set the clocks forward, so maybe they sleep. I don't know. They lost an hour of sleep, man. Or they might be outside. You know, like my wife's outside right now. She's in the yard and she's getting her garden together. So I came home like, dang, man, I ain't trying to do this. I got something to do.
Yeah.
So
So now
she didn't say anything. So I think I'm good.
So now the problem we may have is there's too much sunlight to watch our show. Stay out
right.
At the beginning of the show. We may have to push it back to 7:30, man.
Might have to back it up, man.
What they say, back that thing up. All right.
Pause.
Good evening, Sister Sylvia Harris. I think I call that woman Mother. How are you?
Mm-hmm.
Mother tuning in to the Seville Sports Mentality Show. Well, we're not going to prolong anymore. We're going to go into what we call Red Raiders Respect, where we want to give some Red Raiders some respect on their accomplishments this past week. We don't have as many as we've had in the past, but where there are 2 or 3 who deserve respect, we're going to give them that respect on the Seville Sports Mentality Show. So let's see who we're giving Seville Red Raiders respect on today. Here we go. All right. Red Raiders respect to swimmer Sarah McGann, qualified for the 200 and 500 freestyle. She's a junior at Cash, and she's been doing some wonderful things, made it past the districts onto the state tournament. And we're going to give Red Raiders respect to the boys basketball Red Raiders who advanced to the second round of the 6PA state basketball tournament. So we give major respect to Sarah McGann and the Coatesville boys basketball team. Mr. Grubb, do you want to chime in on the respect factor?
Yes, absolutely, man. Congratulations to young lady McGann and the boys basketball team for advancing to the second round of the state playoffs. I didn't get to the swim meet, but I was at the basketball game.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, I thought it would be more of a competitive game, but it was it was relaxing, exciting, but relaxing. And I know you didn't ask me about the game yet. We're talking about
you got me working over here because I'm like, we didn't even set it up for the update, but went right into it. So
I was about to go into it. Then that little man in my head was like, you want to slow down there, buddy?
Well, I'm glad the man knocked on that door. And you let him come on in.
Well, the weather's nice, so he's out.
All right. Well, we appreciate it because I was like, man, I ain't even set that thing up. He just went with the respect right into the update. But again, as Mr. Grubb is already locked and loaded with this update, as he already gave you a snippet of what is to come with the update on the Coatesville boys basketball team. Again, we want to give respect, and I think Sarah will be competing somewhere around March 12th through 14th. So we wish her well, as she's the only swimmer, boys and girls, who qualified for the state tournament. So we wish her well, and we wish the boys well as they won their first round matchup. And we'll go into the recap that Mr. Grubb has already shown that he's ready to talk about. So, Mr. Grubb, We know that the boys won an impressive game on Saturday afternoon at home where they beat Allen in the first round. You had the privilege to cover the game as well as to see the game. I wasn't there, so now we need to hear from you. What was the game like? What was the experience like? What did you see from the boys basketball team? It's yours.
Well, first of all, shout out to the Coastal community for continuing to support our sports programs, and especially the basketball team, because they were out. Our side of the gym was packed, and we had some sprinkles on the other side of the visiting side. It was just a great environment, man, and you get to see a lot of the alumni come back to support, and then you end up. I was sitting with a couple of the alumni, Andre Myers and Jake Royal, who was a standout basketball player. He was a year under me. You had Roger Williams. I mean, and then you go with the OGs, man. I mean, Anthony Hogarth's always there, man. So what I'm trying to say is, like, the community is continuing to support the basketball program, and the kids are watching. They see it, man, and it brings excitement to the team. So shout out to the Coastal community. Just continue to support these boys, man, and let's take it game by game and hope they advance further to reach their ultimate goal, which is to win a state championship. Now, as far as the game's concerned, like I started to say, man, you know, I thought it would be more of a competitive game, even though William Allen High School had a record of 15-10. I don't know their full schedule, so you can't really look at the record. They had some height, man, and they had some athletic kids on that team. And in the beginning of the game, they hit on probably like 3 threes, man, and they were up, and you were like, what's going on here? And Coastal couldn't throw the ball in the ocean. Like I told Tootie during the interview, it seemed like the kids were on the beach and couldn't throw the ball in the ocean. That's one of Scoog's lines, man. But he said, no, we just had to, you know, get ourselves together. And the shots started falling. And once they started falling, it was over. It was a wrap. So there wasn't really a lot of exciting highlights. It was just after the first quarter, Coastal got on the roll, and it was just a continue onslaught, man. So there was one exciting highlight where Chris Allegra, our guy, you know, we were watching during the beginning of the season, and kind of faded out there a little bit, but he stepped on the court this past week, Rev, and let me tell you, that kid got his mojo back. He got his pep and his step back. Got it back so good, he threw Colton Hiller an alley-oop and then posed at the same time. I said, oh, man, this kid got it back. This is what we're going to need, right?
Yeah.
So that's the good thing about this team is it doesn't matter who it is. It could be anybody. It could be Allegra. It could be Jalil. It could be Armand. It could be Jonas. It could be Max Hiller. It could be anybody that shows up during that game and just they contribute, man. So that's a great part of this team.
Well, that's big ups to the team and great coverage to you. For you had double duty. You picked up my slack, and I greatly appreciate you doing the filming, the interviewing, and the reporting. And big ups to one of our new people we added to the staff, Brother Andy, a photographer.
Yes.
Took some wonderful shots during the game, and we want to encourage the players and parents. Feel free to go to his link, upload your pictures. He's been kind enough to make those things available at no charge at all. So it's a wonderful thing to have people who believe in the vision that 610 is all about, just keeping people informed, inspired, encouraged, and so forth and so on. And we want to thank Andy for the great photography that he brought forth. And we want to thank you, Mr. Grubb, in a very special way for the videos that you presented on 610. And we thank, of course, our network communications person, Sister Kim, for what she does to dress up our various graphics and pictures and videos and so forth and so on. So people know when you use our stuff, it's going to have 610 on it.
Oh,
and
yeah. Hey, Rev, I gotta tell you something, man. So the last 2 games I've been by myself, right? And it showed me that even though we always looked at ourselves as a team of 3. But these last 2 games, it showed that, I was on the bench, fourth quarter, time for you to go in, Levi. You got to show up, blah, 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 right? And I did.
Mhm.
But it made me appreciate each and every one of us for the contributions that we make to this network.
Yeah.
Whether it's your interviewing skills or if it's my knack to catch those great plays on video, or it's Kim's, doing her magic behind the scenes. I sat back and I thought and I said, man, listen, we got a great team, man. A
For
team of 3,
sure.
man. And now it's, we brought on another freelance photographer. Our team is building. I mean, we got about 4, 5, 6, I think 6 people that, ultimately contributes to the network. And
Yeah.
we're just like you said, we're blessed, we're lucky. We're still working on $0 an hour, and it's cool. It's cool because I love doing it.
Yeah.
Can't you tell?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I love what you've been doing from the very beginning, even when we brought in Kim, and you were the one who connected her with the network. You were clear. We work at $0 an hour. So
Absolutely.
we are thankful that everyone who we brought on has caught the vision. And shoot, Kim has made the network shine so much with her, what she calls her magic.
Yeah.
She messes around, she's causing people to think we got a big budget, plus we got a big staff.
Man, we ain't got an office.
We ain't got no kind of office.
But it's okay.
Well, technically, now that we're starting to do the paperwork, the office is one of my rooms in my house.
There you go. Don't tell too much, man.
Where I got to put up a sign so we won't get fined. But nobody has stepped foot in that office yet, for sure.
There you go.
But going back to the game, man, I just want to run down our leading scorers. Amon Folks, the senior, dropped 22, and from the highlights, he had a couple of good drive stops and pops, and he is really coming on as the leader of this team. You could tell that he's putting the team when he needs to on his back. He's made some clutch shots, especially go back to the Chestnut semifinals when they were in a dogfight against Downtown West. He makes that scoop shot in overtime to ultimately propel them to victory, and he had some good games in the districts, and now he begins his first round in the state, his last hurrah as a high school basketball player who's scoring 22 points. Give us just a little bit about what you saw from Amon.
Oh man, Amon, so 2 games ago, he had the pressure of, what was it, 2 point? He had to make 2 more points to get his 1,000th point, man, and he was struggling. I mean, nothing was falling for him that game, man, in that first half, man. But he finally got it. But he didn't have the normal game that he usually has. So last game against William Allen, he popped back up, man. He played his game. He looks like a floor general out there. He is an extension of the head coach Tootie on the floor, and that's what you need, man. So it's like he's a senior. And even when we interview him, you can tell he understands the assignment. He knows that this is his last year. It's not the end of him playing basketball, but Rev, your last year of high school in that last game, man, it can hit you. And the only thing I tell these kids, man, like, listen, your last game, man, and it's your last game, don't be crying on the floor. You go and cry in the locker room. Don't be crying on the floor. Don't be kneeling down. Somebody got to pick you up, and you putting a towel on your head and all that nonsense. Your parents is watching. Your family's watching. Nobody want to do it. They gotta turn the lights out. Go in the locker room and cry. I'm sorry, I went on my tangent, man.
So
I cried like a baby in the locker room.
Yeah, for sure. That last game is tough, especially if you're not winning the state championship with that last game, for sure. I had a chance to talk to one of my cousins who's a basketball aficionado this morning while I was getting ready for my plane from Oklahoma. And he had not heard about Colton Hill. He didn't even know his cousin had started a network. So we hadn't talked, obviously, in a few months. I got a pretty big family on my mother's side. But anyway, so he had asked me, what have you been up to lately? I said, well, in Coatesville, I had a vision to start this network. And by the time we started this network, we hit lightning in a bottle. We're having a great player and freshman, Colton Hill. He was like, what's that kid's name? I said, Colton Hiller. So he Googled Colton Hiller. He just saw a couple of highlights. He said, yeah, this dude's the truth. This dude's the truth. So I say all that to say Colton Hiller had 14 points. He was the second leading scorer in Saturday's game. What would you say to the people about Colton's game on Saturday?
Oh, you talking about what they call him out in the streets, Colton Flag?
Well, that's what he getting the Duke treatment. Oh,
that's
man,
what they call him in the streets of Coatesville. It's Colton Flag, man. So
wow, that's a huge compliment, especially since Cooper Flag is about to be the first pick in the draft coming up. So that's a huge compliment.
Yeah, he's definitely a generational talent already in the ninth grade. 14 years old. I don't even know if he turned 15 yet, but he's special, man. He's special. He is not afraid to take the last shot. He's not afraid to step up when it's a big moment, as he proven a few times this year, a lot of times this year, especially in that overtime game against Bishop Shanahan, where he scored 13 points in overtime. Or the one game he scored, he didn't score all game until the fourth quarter, and he scored 21 points combined the fourth quarter in overtime. Like that, you got to be a special. And at the age of 14 in the ninth grade, come on, man, to be that poised is amazing. And he has his brothers on the team who's a standout football star, who's already receiving, major D1 scholarship offers from the likes of Tennessee and Alabama, Penn State. I mean, at these SEC schools, man, come on, man. Come on. I don't look, man, I don't know what they've been eating in that family, but they doing something right. It ain't a lot of processed food, I tell you that.
Well, it has to be amazing for the Hiller boys, Max and Colton, rather, to be able to do this together, because no one really saw them actually contributing together. We didn't see it early on because Max did not get him many minutes when he first came from the football field to the basketball court. And then once the chess months took place, Max said, I'm in shape now. I've lost a little weight. I'm ready to go up and down the court. There's another Hiller that y'all need to account for in the scouting report. So Max has made his presence known. It's wonderful to see those two guys contributing in such a way to help this team be where they are right now. Also, you got to be excited if you're the parents of Colton and Max. They have a bright future.
Oh, yeah.
It's a family. Rest assured, there'll be some dollars coming their way within the next 3 to 4 years, because the way Max is going, he's on his way to be one of those nil players. Colton is on his way to be one of those nil players. So I just hope that the Hillers remember who were some of the first networks, i.e. 610 networks, to network, to be able to really give their sons a push into the limelight. So we will welcome any donations that you all choose to give us in the years to come.
Absolutely. Rev, we made them feel at home. We took them in as they were our own. I mean, I'm so excited that I already put my paperwork to change my last name to Hiller. So it will be Mr. Grubb Hiller. Sounds good to me.
So you want to make sure you're a part of the inheritance.
You ain't got to leave me nothing. I ain't asking for a lot. Just keep watching and subscribing, and all the people that you come in contact and get them to like and subscribe to 610 Seville Sports Network.
No doubt. In about 5 minutes, we're going to be having two gentlemen who are going to come and share with us from Next Level. We got Fred Howard and Julius Picky Gray will be coming on in about 5 minutes. They will be our Seville Sports Legacy interview. So we're looking forward to having them in the next few minutes. So feel free to like and share and tune in to the interview that is going to happen in the next few minutes. Let's see a couple of comments. Kim said, and he is so humble. Hiller family, cha-ching. And that's from Sister Harris. Are you trying to see if they'll send their 10% to pass down? I don't know. if you were sowing a seed of wisdom to the Hiller to bless a church on Barbara Avenue. I don't know if that's what you were doing, but if that's what you were doing, I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. Real quickly, we know that the boys advance. They play on Wednesday. They play Cumberland Valley. I had a chance to look up Cumberland Valley. They're coming into the game with a record of 24-5. 24-5. They won a game, their first round game against Newcastle, 51-49. It appears that they have a senior guard whose last name is Buzalka. I probably butchered that last name, and I hope that that parent is not watching so that they won't come at me too tough. But he's averaging 19.5 points a game and 5 assists. So we know that Amon Folks and Nasir Williams got to get ready for this young man who is coming in averaging 19.5 points a game. Any just closing comments as we wrap up our update on the Coatesville boys basketball team?
No, I hope Buzerker's parents are watching. That's a couple more viewers for us.
Well, if they are watching, please like and share and let all the folks.
You got me into the soliciting mode today, man.
Hey, the network doesn't grow and the opportunities don't grow unless we do our job and solicit subscribers, likes, and followers. So right. Exactly. Well, as we get ready to transition, we want to thank Mr. Grubb for giving his comments about Saturday's game. We want to thank him in advance for covering Wednesday's game. I'm a game time decision, if you will, because we know that there's a very big, important school board meeting that is taking place in Coatesville on Wednesday night at 6:30, where the school board will be presenting the interim superintendent with a meet and greet. And as a civic leader in the community, I have to make sure, or a clergy member in the city, it's my due diligence to be there to show my face on behalf of my church. So Mr. Grubb will definitely be there, and hopefully I can get to Reading at an appropriate time. But if I'm not there, Mr. Grubb will hold it down for 6:10, and we thank him in advance. Well, let's get ready for our Seville Sports Legacy interview. We have two gentlemen who will be sharing with us today. One is from Coatesville. The other one is a friend of someone who's from Coatesville and a business partner of someone from Coatesville. And they have a business called Next Level. And we want to go to the next level in this show by bringing on these two gentlemen who have taken the time to be interviewed by us today. Let us welcome Coatesville's own Julius Picky Gray and Fred Howard. They have entered the Seville Sports Mentality building, and we say good evening to you, gentlemen.
Good evening to y'all too also, my man.
We greatly appreciate you all. And we're going to ask Mr. Grubb. Mr. Grubb, why was it essential for us to have these two gentlemen on the Seville Sports Mentality show on tonight?
So I know Julius Picky from when he lived up in Coastal. I was a young buck, so that's how our connection is. So he had reached out to me once he saw our show, probably like the first, second, whatever show. He's like, Levi, man, I think, I got a guy you need to talk to, maybe have him on his show. And I'm like, all right, well, whatever. He ends up putting us on a three-way. So he introduces me to Fred, and we're just talking like, we met before, and Fred's telling this story of, what he does and how he started, and it just caught my ear. And I think I texted you, Rev, about him. This was months ago. So that's one, and we'll get into the story of Fred and his business of helping kids get into college and at the lowest cost possible. But it's an interesting story, and I think the viewers of Coatesville will find it very helpful. And I'm sure some of them, they're going to be calling you guys for some advice and some help. So
come on, we waiting for it. That's what you're looking for.
Mr. Grubb, before we jump into the actual questions, I'm going to ask these gentlemen real quickly, if y'all could just give us some background information about who you all are, where you all are from.
Go ahead,
That'll
Freddie.
be real good to set the tone, and Mr. Grubb will come in and start asking you the questions. So we'll start with the Coatesvillian, Julius, Picky, Greg. Just give us a little background information about who you are.
Well, my name, they call me Picky. My name is Julius Grubb. Got the biggest family there, man. I played basketball in Coatesville at Class 84. My last year, I played with Marty and Jody and Dwayne Tools and Dave Thompson was a point guard, you know what I'm saying? And I'm born and raised there, man. You know what I mean? I love my city, man. I love the people, you know what I mean?
All right. Well, we appreciate you. And I think y'all had some pretty good basketball teams back in the day.
Yes, we did.
So let me just ask you this real quickly, because I saw that Matt Eggleston was one of the 1,000-point scorers. What was it like playing with him?
With who?
Marty Eggleston.
Marty Eggleston.
Marty?
I'm sorry, I mentioned his brother. Matt, I'm sorry.
Marty's all right, man. You know what I mean? But we had a powerhouse, man. Like, our bench could have started for anybody in the state, bro. Our bench. That was Amp Hogard, John Hicks, James Mars, Steve Zielinski. You know what I mean? Our bench could start for anybody. I'm saying Amp Hogard, he's a premier guard, and he was on the bench.
Wow.
So that's telling you, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And he had game. So, you know, we was man, listen, we know Kershey came out of retirement for us. You know what I mean? I played for Carroll, 11th grade, and Kershey came out of retirement. We had our team, and we all still keep in contact and everything. We had a great team, man. You know, we still say we better than a lot of teams, but we didn't win this. We were supposed to pick them up, but we didn't. So, you know, we give to them, you know what I'm saying? But we had a lot of competition, man. Every year, Coastal keeps a good team, man. You know?
Who was in your way that you guys didn't win the states? What opposing players? I know who it is.
We lost to the game. Was the game before the states to Williamsport? Actually, Williamsport won the states, man. We lost to them, man.
Now, were you guys playing during Billy Owens' era?
Who?
Billy Owens, Carlisle.
Billy Owens was behind us.
Okay.
Billy Owens, when they came to Coatesville in '85. Remember, Chiefy? That's when he broke Lebo's hand. He came out second half, scored like 35 on him.
Wow.
That's another show.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we thank you, Brother Gray, and we know that you didn't come on this interview alone. So we want to yield to Brother Fred Howard. Tell us who you are, Mr. Howard. Give us a little background information, where you're from, so forth and so on, as we set the tone for this interview.
Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm Coach Howard, man. I am the CEO of Next Level Athlete. Guys, I'm originally from Beaumont, Texas, about an hour away from Louisiana on borderlines. I was born there, but I grew up a little bit outside of Beaumont, Texas, in Houston. And I know a lot of you guys are definitely familiar with Houston, Texas. That's actually where I was raised up at.
Okay, man. So you know some good seafood when you taste it, being from that area.
Hey, definitely. Not only do I know it, man, my wife is a great cook. She cook it for me, you know.
Oh, okay. And I think I heard you're in the ATL right now?
That's correct. I've been out here in Atlanta going on 16 years now. Okay,
so I raised that question because in 3 weeks I will be in Atlanta, and this interview goes real well. I might want to check your wife's food ministry out if she's a real good cook.
Hey, we got you, man. Hey, just give me a call, man. We'll have your plate waiting when you get here.
No doubt. I tell people you have not had seafood until you've had Louisiana seafood, man. That's some good seafood. And Texas is known for its barbecue. So you should know that, Mr. Grubb. If you want some good barbecue, Go out to Texas. Texas, they up there with some of the elite barbecue in the country. With that being said, Mr. Grubb, it's all yours.
All right, so we're gonna start with Fred, Coach Fred Howard. Hey, Fred, man, thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate it. I know this is an opportunity for all of us to, promote what we're doing. So what I want you to do is tell the people of Coatesville what's your business and what are you doing right now?
Well, my business right now, we basically have a sports agency where we help out the student athletes. We saw a need in the community, man. And so we have so many great coaches out here, but it's hard for these coaches to help every single kid because it's a lot of kids that definitely want to go to the next level, So when we saw the need, I just basically started reaching out and, helping the kids like, you guys come on board with us, man. We'll do whatever we can to help you guys get in school with recruiting, NIL deals, just the whole process because it's so even the parents, they know a little bit about the recruiting process, but not much. So we just saw a need, man, and we was able to step in and help the kids out, help the parents, give them more knowledge about the whole recruiting process and make it fun, make it fun for them, definitely, man.
So you just didn't wake up and say, I want to start a sports agency, basically. Tell the people how this actually started. What kick started this?
Man, what kick started Next Level Athlete was basically a father's love that he had for his kids. My kids are very talented, and they my son and my daughter wanted to compete at the next level, But it's like I said, it's so many kids that wanted to do the same that they weren't getting the attention that they needed. So basically what I did, I started doing the research, man. I was like, what do I have to do to help my kids, get into college at the next level? I started going to seminars, reading books, man, anything I could do, to help them get in at the next level, man. And it worked out good. I fought against it for a long time, man, because it's like at the time I had a trucking company and I have my own hot sauce company. And I was like, man, I really don't have time, to do this recruiting. So I was like, man, but my kids are dependent on me. So I just went and just done the research, man, and met some amazing coaches along the way at the college level. And man, these coaches were asking me, they was like, so how long you been on recruiting? I was like, how long have I been recruiting? I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, I'm not a recruiting coach. They was like, what? Coach Harris, one of my good friends from he was coaching up in Virginia, and he was like, man, you should really consider doing this full time. He was like, you're great at it. The kids responding to you. He was like, you and what you've done with your own kids. Like my daughter, she ended up with 42 offers. And that's like unheard of, and I did it like probably like within a year, And so basically her classmates were like, hey, asking my daughter, like, how are you getting all these offers? How are you able to go to all these visits? And my daughter was basically like, hey, it's my dad. My dad did the research. He did everything. And, and these kids started reaching out to me like, Mr. Howard, can you help me? And of course, I'm not going to turn the kids away, man. So I started helping the kids, some of their teammates. They turned around, the teammates, once they started getting offers and some of their friends, they started calling family members, man, like from Texas, Oklahoma, California, like, hey, we got this guy down here in Georgia, man, he's getting kids in school. Y'all better call him. And man, before you know it, I had coaches calling me like, hey, coach, do you have a point guard? Hey, coach, I'm looking for a hurdler. Coach, man, do you have a sprinter? And, and before you know it, man, Coach Harris, like I said, good friend, he basically just walked me through the process. He was like, man, God is giving you a gift. He said, man, I can't let you just walk away from this. He was like, so I'll help you through the entire process. I'll help you get set up on the certifications that you need, everything to get started and start on sports agency. And that's basically how Next Level got started.
So when you first told me that story, that's what had me intrigued, the dedication you had to your kids to afford them an opportunity to go to school. at for free or at less cost, or get them noticed. So you said your daughter had almost 41 offers.
Yeah.
Your son had about 31 offers. What
Right
sport?
at like 28.
28. I was close. So what sport does your daughter play, and what sport does your son play? And what school do they go to currently?
Well, my son was at Reinhardt University, and my daughter, she was at Newberry College. Actually, where Coach Marcus is at.
Okay. And where are they currently there? And what sport do they play?
They both were in track and field. That's how Next Level athlete got started. Our specialty is track and field. Like, man, that's our love, But then we started branching out there. We had other coaches like, man, you guys should consider, basketball. Now we're doing basketball, volleyball, and next month we'll be starting baseball and softball.
All right, so you're at the point now where you've helped over 200 kids get into school.
Correct? That's correct. Well, right now, over 200 kids, like if they're not in college already, they are still in high school, but they already have at least one offer. And that's you're correct. That's over 200 kids.
So you've achieved over 200 kids, helping 200 kids get into school or about to get in school. How long did that take? What year did you start this process? Was it a year, 2 years, 3 years?
We started in 2022.
Okay, so within 3 years, you've helped 300 kids get into school. Now, do the kids or the family, is there a cost for them to pay you for your services?
Man, that's the great thing about what we're doing. Man, we have a passion, for just truly helping the kids. It's absolutely no cost, free. We have our whole company set up as a nonprofit. So basically, we get funding, from the state, and we'll get funding from a lot of, man, believe it or not, we have a lot of sponsors, that want to do. Once they hear our story and realize that we're helping these kids at no cost, man, it's amazing, man. I mean, sometimes I sit back and think about it myself, and I was like, man, I wish we had somebody like this when I was in school, But it's absolutely no cost, man, for the student athletes. So that's the best part of what we're doing.
Fred, that's a great thing, man. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on, and exactly what you just said. When we were going to school, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have phones in the palm of our hands. We didn't have these things easily to our access. But I wanted to bring you on and bring you up here, virtually, because maybe you will be able to help some of these parents and kids up in the coastal area or the surrounding areas, achieve some of the things that the kids down in Texas and Oklahoma and Georgia have already.
Absolutely. And that's the overall goal. We're not just helping the kids right here in Georgia. We're helping the kids all over. It doesn't matter what state you're from. Yeah, we're putting in the work, and we'll get you in school. All you have to do is just reach out to us and just show that you are willing to put in the work as well.
Okay. So Picky, I'm gonna move over to Picky. Picky, tell me something.
What you want to know? I got you.
How did you and Coach Fred meet, man?
That's a funny story, man. I was living in out in Clayton County, man, out in Morrow. I just moved out there, and I see the house has been empty, crossing, and the people moving the U-Haul truck. It's hot out summertime, so I'm like, what the heck going on? And then him and his wife and the kids come up there, so I go over and talk to him. You know what I mean? His wife would say, "Hey, Freddie." So I offer both of them some water. His wife said, "I just offer him water." So you better be careful. We in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying?
Now you left out a part. And she said, not only do you have to be careful, you're in Atlanta, she said, he's a lot bigger than you too.
Oh, yeah, he's a lot bigger than you. Yeah, right. So, but ever since then, man, 16 years, man, been friends. I say family, bro. His family, my family, we have our ups and downs. We argue, we disagree. Family. But we rock with each other, man. I got his back 1,000 times, and I know he got mine. You know, we've been there, we've proven it. You know what I'm saying? So when
That's
he
great.
came up with this idea, what he was doing, I'm like, yo, listen. He said, man, you know a lot of people. You did, you know, you do. Come on, you be over basketball for men's and women's basketball for the company. I can't tell him no. That's my brother, man. You know what I'm saying? That's my brother, man.
I think it's ironic that we have 4 brothers on the show right now, and 2 of the brothers know people. The other 2 brothers that know a lot of people. Me and Picky know a lot of people. I know a lot of people in Coatesville. Picky still does. And then you got Rev from Atlanta, and then you got Fred down in Atlanta. I love the dynamic of what's going on right now. But Picky, tell me something before I hand it over to Rev. What role do you play in Next Level Athlete?
I'm a scout, man. I'm a scout for the basketball, for men's and women's basketball. I'm a scout. You know what I mean? I'm gonna bring the best. I'm gonna help these kids. Coming from where I come from, man, and seeing how it is, and I know a lot of times parents don't have it. They don't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? And I've been down that road. I know. You know what I mean? So I'm here willing to give them 100% of me. I gotta look at the kids as if they're my kids. Because my kids, I'm gonna go out and be honest. So these kids, I gotta go out and buy like they're mine. You know what I mean? Because I want the best for them. All I want them to do is focus on their craft and hit the books and be respectful. That's all I ask.
You want to take it over, Rev?
That's cool. Picky, you just talked about knowing where you come from. Give us a little description about your upbringing in Coatesville.
Dad, I knew you say that.
Do we have to go to commercial right quick?
Now, I'm gonna keep it 100, man. You know, I went to school, man. As a juvenile, I was locked up the Heights. I was Glen Mills, left Glen Mills, played ball. I ran away from there. Came to went to Cornwall Heights, man. And back then, in 82, 81, we were supposed to we made a record. We had a good team, man. We had kids that went to Lincoln, went to Morehouse, and they told us we couldn't play in the States. We like, huh? Why not? We made it for the district. Why not? And then we supposed to play Ben Salem. And a lot of the dudes that been kids at Ben Salem, their parents were scared of us because we were a juvenile facility. You know what I'm saying? And they was judges and cops. They petitioned all the way to Harrisburg, man. They told me we can't play, but we under the same school curriculum. You know what I'm saying? When the state. So the following year, that's when all the juvenile institutions in the state of Pennsylvania are eligible to play. Glen Mills got to be able to play for the states and districts and all that. You know what I'm saying? Fast forward, my upbringing, man, like, you know, I wasn't a bad kid. I was like any other kid. I liked the money, and I knew how to go about get money. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of choices I made wasn't good choices. A lot of choices I made, oh man, wasn't good choices.
We can pick up what Picky pick up with Picky. We can pick up with Picky.
That battery about to go down.
That battery about to go down. I know that sound, man.
It's plugged up. I don't understand why.
All right. We'll come back to him real quick, let him get situated. But Coach Howard, real quickly, before we go into more sporting things, how did you get to Atlanta?
Man, you know, it was a time, man, where me and my wife, you know, we just wanted change. You know, it's like when you be from a place for so long, man, it's the same, you know, good people, you know, same people, man. And we just wanted change. We wanted something different for our kids, you know. And we heard so many great things about the city of Atlanta. And the biggest thing is, you know, I wanted to venture off and start my own businesses. And everybody I spoke to was like, hey, bro, if you're trying to start a business, you need to look into Atlanta. You know, it's
around what year did you find yourself in Atlanta?
Around 2009.
Okay. All right. So you were coming to Atlanta when the big push was coming to Atlanta, because I lived in Atlanta for 32 years. And we know Atlanta mushroomed in all directions once it experienced the Olympics. So Atlanta, like different areas in Atlanta that used to be called the Boondocks, is now part of Metro Atlanta. Real quickly, where in Atlanta are you?
We're in Stockbridge, Georgia. So we're kind of like on the outskirts of Atlanta, you know, about 30 minutes away from downtown.
Yeah, you're in South. You're south of Atlanta. Yep, up
Absolutely.
75.
Yep, south of Atlanta, 75.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. So I know exactly where you are. I got a good friend who's a pastor of a church there in Stockbridge called Mount Olive Baptist Church, where I've had the privilege to preach there a couple of times. So if you need a good church, man, try out Mount Olive. I'll give him a plug. His name is Dr. Terrence Gaddis. But with that being said, you mentioned about track and field is basically the foundation for how your business got started. And you mentioned about your children being in track and field. Do you have a history of being in track and field? And if so, what is that history? And how did your children get into that field?
Yeah, well, I grew up a basketball player, so I played basketball and football, but my wife, she actually did run track. So if anything, I would say they get their speed from my wife, not me.
So you can't take credit for the speed.
Nah, I can't. I wouldn't dare. I hear it tonight if I did. She'll be like, hey, she'll tell me the only time you run fast is when you run into the kitchen to get some food.
Well, that lets me know it's real good. But she making it real good. Real quickly, you mentioned earlier, you said that as you were paying attention to the landscape of recruiting, kids weren't getting the attention they needed, which caused your antennas to go up to begin to do all of the research that you began to do and to get into the field that you're currently in. Why weren't the kids getting the attention that they needed from your perspective?
Man, one of the biggest reasons I would say the kids weren't getting the attention, is like sometimes you just get lost because there's so many kids that's out there reaching after the same goal, and it's like anything, like in the job market. I mean, certain fields are oversaturated. It's like you have so many kids after the same goal, and it's like but you have very few coaches, and like I said, these coaches basically they just have to, hey, well, I help this kid, I can help this kid, but then you have 10 other kids that just got lost that's equally as talented.
So oftentimes in coaching, I used to coach basketball for 7 years, Benjamin Elijah Mays High School in Atlanta. That was my alma mater. You know about Mays?
I know a lot about Mays. Great school.
All right, you're credible. You're credible, man. You're credible. but with that being said, I know that there are times when you hear kids and parents say that the coaches show favoritism. And this is why they're not pushing my kid, so forth and so on. Would you say that is a fair assessment in some cases that you come across where the coaches weren't pushing certain kids?
Yeah, in some cases, that may be the situation, but from what I've seen from my perspective, I'll say a lot of the times it's the kids, because you have to think about it like this. If you're a coach, but you can only help so many kids, you got to think, are you going to pick those kids they may be talented, but they're troublemakers. They're always in and out of trouble. Or that kid, he has all the gifts in the world, but making straight F's, are badly staying on the team. So I look at it from that standpoint also, because when a coach basically help get a kid into school, he's putting his name on the line for that kid and telling the other coaches in college, like, hey, this kid is a great kid. He's has a great character. So, that plays a big role in it also. So, and that's where I go back saying that the kid has to do their part as well. If you serious about being recruited, you have to take care of business on the court and in the classroom. And also your character speaks for yourself. Like, man, coaches are big on character.
Yes.
No doubt about it. And I'm wondering, how much does talent come into play? Because typically you're going to get looks when you have certain stats, right? And typically recruiting especially in the past, used to be real big on stats.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially I'm a former basketball guy, so you know, coaches are looking for certain stats. If they're looking in the guard to run a team, what's their assist to turnover ratio? If they're looking for a score, how many points that are they scoring? How are they scoring? Are they shooting a three? Are they driving to the hole? So forth and so on. So, in addition to character, which is important, and also grades are important because you got to be able to do the work in order to be eligible to play. How much does talent come into play, especially in the work that you're doing?
Man, it's very important, you know, because you know you have some great kids, man, but and not even so much just talent. Some of these kids are talented, but man, I've noticed some of these kids are not hungry. You know, it's like you can have all the talent in the world, but when it's time to get on the floor and compete, when the coaches need you the most, are you hungry? You know, you have to want it. You have to want it for yourself. And if a coach have to motivate you to get out there, you know, and play your hardest and this and all that, man, that takes away. And most coaches are turned away from that. They're like, hey, this kid is talented. You know, he got the grades or she has the grades, you know, but man, I don't really see that dog in him. You know, I want a kid that's gonna come out with that dog and ready. I don't have to get them hyped up for a game. You know, they ready as soon as they get off the bus. They ready to get it. And that's, you know, that's what a lot of coaches are looking for. You know, so they look for that more than talent.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when you said the kid has to be hungry, I believe somewhere in Philadelphia and in the Coatesville area, somebody said amen because they immediately thought about Ben Simmons.
Hey,
immediately thought.
Hey, prime example, man. I Ben Simmons, I think he's a great kid. He definitely talented. You know, he wouldn't be there if he wasn't. But again, man, you have to have that dog. You have to want it. You have to go get it, you know, and you can't back down from anything, anybody. Right. You got to be ready. As soon as them lights come on, you got to be ready to go get it.
Let me ask you this real quickly. Back in the day, and this seems like we ancient now, Mr. Grubb and I am. We both graduated in 1995. So the big thing at that time, if you weren't really getting recruited, would be to put together a highlight film, right? So you put your highlight film together, and then you put maybe a game film or two with the highlight film. So where you are now with what you do, in addition to maybe a highlight film, a couple of game films, from what you've learned, what are those additional resources that are needed in order for a kid to be in place to be recruited?
Man, one of the biggest things that I tell on my parents is, you know, man, the highlight film, to be honest with you, is kind of fading away a little bit. You know, these coaches these days, that's why they have scouts. Like why we hired Mr. Julius to come on board with us. Man, they're going in. They want to see you in person. They going to the AAU leagues. They setting up the camps. You know, so many coaches have their own personal camps just because they want to see what you can do in person. It's like, you know, a lot of the coaches like, man, sometimes we can miss some things, you know, on film or whatever. But when you really get around that kid, the hunger and the kid heart, it speaks for itself, you know. And so many of the coaches, man, they coming out, you know. You just have to get into the camps, you know. Anytime you see a camp that's out there, try to get out there and compete. Don't just go to the camp just to say, hey man, I went to such and such camp. No, go and compete. Show them that you're serious about playing at the next level. Like, hey, I'm willing to get out here. I want to be the first person here before the camp open up. And guess what? When the camp leave, I've seen kids that's still out there practicing on their jumper, and the coaches come back out the locker room like, hey, man, you know, the camp was over with like an hour ago. Like, we're done. He was like, yeah, I know, coach, you know, but the gym was still open, so I wanted to work on my game. Guess what that coach did? Hey, come here right quick. What's your name again? Hey, take my number. Because it showed that coach that this kid is serious about playing at the next level. He just came from a 2-hour camp, competing, giving everything he had. Everybody else is gone. He's still in here shooting jumpers.
So, Mr. Pickey, Julius.
What's happening? I'm back, man.
So, Mr. Howard, Coach Howard said you're a scout. So when you're out there scouting, what are you looking for as a scout?
For one, I look for self-containment, you know what I'm saying? And the kid itself, you know what I'm saying? Emotions. I look at, because we don't want nobody who's a hothead. I've been down there. I know, you know what I'm saying? I could pick them out. You know, we want somebody, and once we meet the kid, you know, this is all kids, you know, I'm gonna meet the parents. I'm gonna see where you come from. You know what I'm saying? Because that tells a lot about a kid, what you really want to do. Because a lot of times kids is doing it because of their parents. They don't really want to do it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I want to talk to them. Is this what you want to do? Because you can say, hey, I want to go to Duke. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you might be good enough to go to Duke. But guess what? We might be able to get you at Westchester. You know what I'm saying? Because right now, you know, everybody think they D1. Everybody can't go to D1, man. And I tell any kid to this, and I took this from Eric Anderson, told me this years and years ago. That's my over here. He said, listen, when you talking to kids, man, do what you got to do. Ed, tell them go where they want it, not where they want to go. Go where they want it. Why would you go to Duke and on a partial scholarship and you're not getting no time, waste that time, when you could go to a D2, get time, you got a full ride. You know what I'm saying? It got to make sense. And if you're that good, they're going to come and get you.
Yeah.
That's just, you know, so I look for a lot of quality, man. I look for a lot of kids that I see myself in. You know what I'm saying? Because I know what it's like, bro. Trust me. I know what it's like, man. You know what I mean? I don't want no kid to go down the road that I went down. I've been there, did it both ways, as a juvenile and as an adult. It's not no fun. You know what I'm saying?
That's good stuff. I appreciate you sharing. Back to you, Coach Howard, real quickly. So traditional recruiting would be really a two-way conversation. It would be the school and the family, right?
Correct.
In basketball, it's become three-way. You had the school, AAU, and the family.
Mm-hmm.
So now you here provide the fourth wheel, right, with what you're doing. So what is your process as you have like Coach Julius, Scout Julius, to go out there and scout? When you all find somebody that you all see has potential, then do you all put them in your system? Do you have a portal? So what is like the process after you all identify someone that you want to work with?
Yeah, once we identify a kid or a student athlete that we want to work with, basically we create a profile for that athlete. You know, we reach out to the parents, get to know their parents, you know, get to know the family and see you know, who we really working with and who we're dealing with. Once we create their profile, then I start reaching out to different coaches that I know, like, hey coach, I have a you know, a guard or whoever I think would be great you know, in your program. You know, and the next thing they say, hey, send me some film or tell me more about this kid. You know, where does he come from? You know, is this kid you know, is he serious about the game? They was like, because, you know, I don't want anybody that's not committed to putting in the work, you know. And like I said, once we set up that profile, man, I've made contact with so many great coaches. It's literally, I can just pick up the phone and just call coaches and be like, hey, coach, I got one for you. I got one for you. He's a dog. Get ready. You know, I'm finna send his information over. And, you know, and basically that's what it is now. It's like back in the days, the parents used to try to send the film and everything to the coaches. But it's so many kids now, man. Like this, the game has evolved. Like it's all the kids out there have recruiting coaches. They have agents. And these are kids in high school now.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And so it's like if you just have your parents doing that, man, I hate to say it, but it's like you're behind the game already, because so many coaches, I mean, so many kids out there, they have their own agent and recruiting coaches doing all the work for them, to where all they have to do is just focus on playing.
So everybody would, well, at least every parent would love to be able to do what you're doing, right? To be able to just pick up the phone or send a text to some coach. So I'm wondering, what was your big break to develop the credibility with the coaches so that your call, your text, your voice matters to coaches? There had to be some big break. What was it?
Man, the biggest break that I would say is that, man, well, I can't just say one kid because it was several, and it seemed like it happened all at the same time. It's like when I was sending these kids out, especially last year, man, I had some great athletes, and the coaches were calling me back like, Coach, they was like, Coach Howard, man, we knew you said these kids were talented and they were great kids. They was like, but man, these kids that you're sending us, man, they're coming in the locker room. They're taking over the locker room and seeing what a lot of people don't know. Like my kids, I send them motivational scriptures daily. Any kid, my kids are not just kids to us, they're family. And so what we do is we bring them in, and we don't just talk just sports. We try to mentor the kids, like anything they have going on in their personal lives, and so when so many coaches started seeing like, man, the kids that he's recommending, they're more than just athletes. These kids are great character kids. They come in the locker room. They have great leadership, because that's part of what we do with the kids. We develop, the character, leadership skills. So, man, we have so many kids they're basically on the dean's list. They're great in the locker room. So when I started sending these type of kids, man, it's like my credibility just went like sky high. Everybody was like, yeah, let's call Coach Howard. Hey, we know he got great kids, so it just took off from there, man.
Real quickly, I'm going to ask you two more questions, then we're going to go what we call in the rapid fire. This is a comment from Sylvia Harris. This interview is fabulously informative and entertaining. So we appreciate that comment. And obviously we want to thank Coach Howard and Coach Gray for giving us this privilege to give such an informative interview. So you mentioned earlier, Coach Howard, that you attended seminars, you read books, so forth and so on, to be able to get you to where you are right now in this business. What were some of those key things that you learned in the seminars, those key things that you read, which helped you get to the point where you are now?
Man, I would say some of the key things that I learned going to the seminar is that, number one, you have to be, when you're talking to the kids, you have to gain the trust from the parents. You have to be honest, direct with the parents, because if the parents can't trust you, you've lost the whole grounds, everything,
Absolutely.
So you have to gain the trust from the parents, and once you gain the trust from the parents, show the parents that, hey, I'm not only just here, to get your kids to play sports. Like, man, we're trying to build great character outside of sports, because everybody's not going to go pro, in sports, but they will go pro in another field. So we try to prepare them and have them prepared for that, by any means, just basically whatever we have to do to help better that kid is what we're here for.
That's right.
Last question before we go into what we call Raiders Rapid Fire. Who are some of the coaches that you've been able to really develop a relationship with as you're going through this process that we might know?
Well, a lot of the coaches that I deal with on the regular is not the head coaches, because with me doing the recruiting, I basically develop relationships with all the recruiting coaches. Now, okay. I can tell you the colleges where I know all the recruiting coaches, from Clemson, to Alabama. Coach Joe, he actually just became the director of recruiting for the University of Texas.
Okay.
And Coach Spencer, he's up there at Alabama football, great guy. Coach Means, man, I love, every time we talk, it's always positive. She's great. She's actually the assistant coach for Clemson women's basketball.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you for that information. And this, like I said, this has been very enlightening. I could tell I've been out the coaching game for a while, because things have really evolved. I've been coached since 2007, so I'm 18 years out the game. So this has been very informative. As we get ready to start moving towards the end of the interview, we do a thing called Red Raiders Rapid Fire, where we're going to shoot some things at you, and we want you to respond to those things in 1 to 3 words, no more than 3 words.
Okay.
If you go over 3 words, you're going to be muted. All right. So this is where you got to learn how to be concise and do what you would tell a kid, follow directions. All right. So 1 to 3 words. So Mr. Grubb is going to shoot Mr. Picky, his Red Raiders rapid fire, and then I'm going to come for Coach Howard after he does Red Raiders rapid fire with after Mr. Grubb does Red Raiders rapid fire with Brother Picky. All right, Mr. Grubb, it's on you.
Brother Picky, Mr. Picky, what's going on?
What's happening?
So Rev already explained the rules and regulations of this game or this thing we're about to do. So I'm gonna ask you about five. I'm gonna give you 5 words. All right, and then you just respond in 1 to 3 words. All right.
Okay.
Coatesville.
Love.
Ash Park.
History.
Ross Kershey.
Like the dad.
Chuck Carroll.
Cabbage head.
That's real right there.
That's real. That's what we call it.
He's still around too.
Yeah.
Cultural basketball.
Lifetime.
Coastal High School.
Great.
All right, you passed the test. Pass the test.
All right. Now, Coach Howard, everything that I put together to give you your Red Raiders rapid fire is what I've gained from this interview. All right. Because I didn't know anything about you until today. Okay. So I could not go as deep as Mr. Grubb went with might as well, since you said I called him Mr. Brother, I couldn't go as deep as I did with Deacon Picky.
Okay. Amen, brother. Amen.
That's going to stick right there.
All right, Coach. Here you go, Coach Howard. Beaumont.
Hometown.
Texas.
Love, love, love.
Louisiana.
Great food.
Hot sauce.
Fire.
Say the name of your hot sauce, man.
Right.
Hot sauce Creole flame.
All right. Atlanta.
Man. Fresh start.
Stockbridge.
New beginnings.
Henry County.
Henry County is Henry County. Ain't too much you can say about Henry County.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
All right, here you go. Track and field.
First love.
Recruiting.
Have to work, work, work.
Next level.
Next level. The beginning.
Children.
That's my heart.
Wife.
Beautiful.
All right, you can go to bed in the same bed tonight with that response.
Right.
All right. Well, gentlemen, we thank y'all so much for coming in. And if you could, just before we let you go, if someone wanted to get in contact with you, how could they get in contact with you?
Give them the information, Freddie.
Yeah, they could definitely reach us at www.nextlevel.org. You know, and if not, they could also go to Instagram. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Next Level Athlete as well. And we have it broken down into the football, Next Level Athlete football, Next Level Athlete basketball. So that way we try to separate, you know, so each kid can find us depending on what sport that they're into.
If you could you send us an email with that information that you just shared so that we could put it on our network page?
I send
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, do that for us because we want to do what we can to promote your business, and who knows, you might branch out into Pennsylvania. So
we are.
Okay.
We
Good.
are. We are.
Good. Well, we want to thank you all so much for joining the Seville Sports Mentality Show. We got some fire hearts going up. Mr. Levi, somebody said great.
Mr. Grubb, man.
Mr. Grubb,
Hey.
I'm sorry. AKA
Hey.
Mr. Grubb, great interview.
Hey.
So we appreciate you all joining us on tonight and on down the road as we continue to do the show. We hope to have you all again at some point. All right.
Hey, we looking forward, man. Thank you so much,
Absolutely.
man, Rev. Thank you, Grubbs. Appreciate y'all, man.
Well,
Hey,
610 Seville
bro.
Sports Mentality Show family, can you all do us a favor? Send up some hearts, send up some likes for Coach Fred Howard and Deacon Julius Picky Gray.
All right, folks. I'll be talking to you soon, man. Okay.
All right. Appreciate
Yeah.
you.
All right.
Thank you guys for having us on, man.
We appreciate
Fred.
you all. And what a great interview. And we want to thank again Coach Howard, Brother Gray, for joining us on today. And we thank you, Mr. Grubb, for making the connect so that we could get some good information out there to help parents. And who knows, somebody from Coatesville may benefit from Next Level. Any closing comments about the interview that you might have before we press on?
Well, I'm just happy that we were able to bring them on and spread the word, man. Spread the knowledge, man. And if we were able to help one kid or one parent or a set of parents, push them in the right direction, because a lot of times as parents and you're trying to figure out how to get your kids in school and you don't know the system, and then things are changing. We didn't get a chance to ask them about the NIL and the transfer portal, or how that's affecting high school kids today, because a lot of coaches, they're not, sorry to say, they're not looking at high school kids anymore. They're looking at kids in D2, D3, junior colleges, kids that already have experience playing on the next level, and that's where they come in to kind of give high school kids a push. And like Picky said earlier, it doesn't matter if you don't go D1, as long as you go where you're wanted.
Yeah.
And that's the whole mission right there. So having those guys on, I hope it helped someone in our area. And go ahead and reach out to them guys, man. You can go on my site or my page and Rev's page. It'll be up there. The information will be up there. Just go directly straight to nextlevel.org and reach out to them guys, and hopefully they can help you.
Well, Mr. Grubb, you know how when you go to a concert and it was really good, people say encore, encore. Well, since they haven't gone anywhere, I'm going to bring them back for an encore, since you brought up those things about Neil as well as transfer portal. So they didn't go anywhere. They're right here. So go ahead on, Mr. Grubb. Talk about
I'm glad I ain't say nothing bad about them, man. I'm sorry.
So
Hey,
go
Fred.
ahead and ask the question, man. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Hey, Fred, so check this out. How do you feel and how do you deal with the situation with the name, image, and likeness going on in the college industry and even in the high school, and also the transfer portal? How has that affected high school recruits trying to go to college?
Man, well, the transfer portal, the transfer portal is good. It has its advantages and disadvantages. The transfer portal, man, it helps so many kids that, like Pick said earlier, everybody can't go D1, So it's like, if you can't go D1, it's no problem. Your career isn't over. Just go to the Division II, JUCO, wherever you can get in. Because the transfer portal, that's what it's designed for, to give you kids the opportunity to get to where you want to be after, you go D1, D2, D3. That portal is helping so many kids, man. But then on the backside of that, man, you have some of these kids that they don't want to put the work in. So they like, oh, the coach ain't gonna play me. So they're not willing to put the work in to get the playing time. Oh, I'll just transfer. So that's the bad side of it. You have so many kids just, man, I'm not gonna worry about it. I'll just hit the transfer portal. I'll go somewhere else. So man, that could be challenging, definitely for a lot of coaches, because especially the old school coaches, man, they're big on developing a kid. you know. But how can you develop a kid when they're so quick to hit the transfer portal?
Right.
You know, so that's the downside to it. And for us, the NIL deals, man, I think it's great. You know, same thing. It has some great points. Then at the same time, I believe it hurts some of the kids, you know, because man, these kids are helping build up these colleges and the programs, you know. They're so I believe they should get paid, you know, for doing you know, what they're putting the work in for, you know. But then at the same time, man, so many of these kids I go back to not practicing because they're, coach, I got a photo shoot. I literally heard a kid say that, like, coach, I can't make practice today because I got a photo shoot for this NIL deal. And the coach like, you got what? He's like, nah, you got to come to practice. But the kid like, coach, they paying me 50 grand. I can't pass up on 50 grand, you know, just because of practice. And the coaches, once again, like, man, what do we do with this? Like, what's going on right now? When I got to argue back and forth with a kid just to come to practice.
And so we have a question from our network director, Kim. She wants to ask, what would their recommendation be for an athlete like Colton Hiller, which is our 9th grade phenom in Coatesville, or Max Hiller, who is our standout football player that already has, you know, SEC scholarships offers already? What would their first step be? So maybe she's not necessarily talking about a Colton or a Max. Maybe like Picky, maybe they're talking about a Nasir Williams.
My advice would be go where you want it and where you're happy at. Because at the end of the day, your mom, your dad, they don't have to go through that. You do. You have to deal with what's going on at that school. You know what I mean? Because they want you to go to school X. You might not like school X. Don't do it because they want you to do it for you yourself, because you got to live this out for 4 years. You know what I'm saying? Go be the best person you could be the best student, be the best athlete. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. You know what I'm saying? That, I mean, again, everybody can't go D1. You know what I'm saying?
So let me ask you this question, Fred and Julius. You guys seem more like coaches than agents. You seem more like motivators than agents. Is that what separates you from, let's say, your competition?
I think so. I believe so. Because we both have kids, man, and we love the kids. See, a lot of times the agents, they want to do it for the money, for all the wrong things. We don't even talk. We don't care about it. If the kid comes up and say, hey, I got to pay this $100 fee, I don't have it, guess what? We're going to pay it. You know what I'm saying? The application, we'll pay it. Freddie's done it. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's about, we want them to be the better version of what we was, especially me. You know what I'm saying? I don't care who you are. I want you to be the best that you could be. Make yourself happy. If you're not happy, can't nobody else be happy. That's like a marriage. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, everything that I've been through in life, good and bad, I'm bringing it to the table. My life is an open book. You know what I'm saying? I'm not ashamed of nothing that I've done. You know what I'm saying? Nothing I did, because I changed. I'm not who I used to be. And I want these kids, see, that's the different thing that I bring to this than a lot of these agents and other competition have. They don't have what I have. You know what I'm saying? I could tell it, hey, them drugs, that gang, that's not happening. Why? Let me explain to you. I've been through this is what I did. You know what I'm saying? I could pull up paperwork. This is what I've done. You know what I'm saying? It's not what's happening. This is what's happening. What you doing is what's happening. And that's the difference between us. You know what I'm saying? Freddie, he's modest about it. He's been down that road too. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, you know what I mean? We changed. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has a past. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And we changed. I want to give back to kids, not just from Coastal, all over the world. That's what we want to do. Because there's kids out there that don't have nothing. That can't, you know what I'm saying? And if we can help them, we'll help them.
Coach Howard, give us no. Coach Howard was going to say last word as you wrap this segment up for us, as we gotta move on. But give us your last word or anything that you want to share.
Man, the biggest thing that I would like to share with hopefully a lot of the student athletes that this could help them, you know, just remember, you know, like when a coach is trying to recruit you, they may be at a Division II or JUCO school, and you may not be interested in that school at all, but show that coach the same respect that you would show the coach from Alabama, Clemson, because the thing is that coach is there now at that Division I or JUCO school, and you may be a freshman. By the time you become a senior, that coach may be at your dream school.
That's deep.
That's
So
a great
treat all
word.
the coaches the same.
That's a great word. That's a great, and you never know if you may have to fall back and revisit them if they're still at the same school.
Absolutely.
You know, yeah. Well, we thank y'all for giving us the encore.
Yeah. We've never done that before, man.
Never done that before. This is part of Seville Sports Mentality Show history. The first encore was Show 10 with Picky and Coach Howard.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys for having us on again, man. We're looking forward to coming back. And like I say, right now, I'm with the Julius, which is the scout for basketball. Hey guys, maybe I can come back with my scout for football. I have a scout for baseball. I have a scout for track and field. So man, let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Well, matter of fact, let's make it happen, especially as they're in those respective seasons. We'll bring them in during that season. So we'll get back to you to see if we can get you your track and field person as well as your baseball person since we're into that spring season.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely.
Oh, I'm sorry, Julius. Bro, Julius would say?
I'm bringing him to Coachville, too. We're going to come up there and during some seasons and say football and all that, see some games and, see what we can do.
All right. Well, when y'all make that happen, let us know in advance so we can meet y'all.
Meet
up with y'all. All right.
Got you.
All right. Thanks again. We appreciate Piggy, Mr. Picky, Deacon Picky, Brother Picky, Skate Picky, Transform Picky, whatever you want to use, and Coach Howard for their time on today. Real quickly, you all know that we give major props to one of the great men of Coatesville, Coach Scoogie Smith, who I knew as Deacon Scoogie Smith. So Mr. Grubb has provided one of his Scoogisms today, and we're going to put this Scoogism up for the week in just a moment. Let me take this other one down real quickly. There we go. So this week's Scoogism, what is it? Mr. Grubb provided this for our quick conversation. Break big challenges into small, achievable goals. What does that mean to you, Mr. Grubb?
Oh, man, what does it mean to me? So, like I say all the time, man, I try to bring these Scoogisms to light. They're not all, per se, the ones that Scoogie would send me or any other student he had or friend he had. Sometimes I have to go with what's going on this week. What did I experience this week, or what did I see this week? And one of the things that I saw out of the boys' basketball team was they set a high standard for themselves for this season. They didn't achieve one of their main goals was to win the District 1 6A championship. They fell short. So that challenge they didn't complete. But the ultimate challenge is winning the state title. So now it's like when you interview them or you listen to them or you talk to them, they're always saying, look, we're taking one game at a time. We're taking one practice at a time. So break big challenges into small, achievable goals. And then ultimately you're gonna break through and you're gonna reach that ultimate goal. So that's what that means to me, Rev.
All right. We appreciate that breakdown, and I'm not going to try to come after you with that one. I'm going to go right in to
I appreciate
it. So as we are a sports network, we are all about sports with a touch of Christ. For many of you all know that I'm a real reverend in real life. And I just want to share this scripture real quickly as we get ready to close. The psalmist says in Psalm 46, verse 1, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. And I just want to share with this, whatever you do, you're going to experience some trouble. You're going to have some downtimes. You're going to have some struggles. As we heard the success story of Next Level, I can guarantee you, as Coach Howard and as Picky were doing their due, they came across some troubles. I'm sure every parent has not been kind to them. I'm sure every coach hasn't been very pleasant to them. But if God is in it, God has been their shelter to protect them from throwing in the towel, to protect them from missing out or focusing rather on the main thing. And where they're weak, because rejection can cause you to be weak, disappointment can cause you to be weak. God has given them the strength to continue to press on, showing himself to be mighty and strong by being their help. And that's the same thing with our network. Everything has not been all fine and dandy. We've had our ups, we've had our downs, and we've had our times of weakness as we've developed this network within the past 2 months. But God has sheltered us from ourselves in some cases, from making bad choices, from moving in the wrong direction. When we've gotten weak at times, God has been the one to provide our strength. And therefore, this is why whatever you do, you want to make sure that God is in it so that you can always know that help is on the way. And God is the best help that you could ever have in any circumstance, in any situation, or any condition that you might find yourself in. So I pray that somebody will adopt this particular scripture, especially when you deal with trouble, struggle, chaos, crisis. That's not the sign to give up. That's the sign to give in to God and let him be your refuge and strength, for he is a very present help in trouble. With that being said, that puts a bow on show number 10. Again, we want to thank Coach Howard. We want to thank Brother Pickey for their time representing Next Level. Mr. Grubb, we thank you for your time. And as we get ready to close this show, give us a final word.
Rev, this is one of the most. It wasn't hard, but it was a challenging show because although I know Pickey, I don't know Pickey because Pickey's older than me. I was just a pup, you know what I mean? And I didn't know Fred as well as Pickey knows Fred. So it was challenging for us to, get the questions together and, try to make a good interview. But I just want to give you credit and Kim credit for helping put all this together. And I think we had a great interview. Once again, double-digit shows. There was some first on this. There was the first time having 2 guests on simultaneously. That was the first time that Next Level Athlete has done an official podcast interview. So we are breaking down barriers. We're climbing walls. We're poking our head over the top and saying, hey, we are here and we're coming, as Deion Sanders would say. We coming, baby.
No doubt, no doubt. And we want to thank everybody for tuning in to the Seville Sports Mentality Show. Again, if you haven't already done so, hit the like button, like 610, the Seville Sports Network. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do that as well. We'll be back, same Facebook page, same YouTube channel next week at 6:30 p.m. We want to salute the Coatesville Boys basketball team. We're wishing them good luck on Wednesday night as they play Cumberland Valley. With that being said, Mr. Grubb, are you going to hit them with the Russell Simmons?
God bless and good night.
God bless and good night. We'll see you next Monday. We're out of here.